you had a very nice weekend. Nice, good, safe weekend here in Adelaide. Anyway, it was raining most of the time. But spring is around the corner. Now remember, Friday, it's not moan in, groan in, or drone in. It's phone in. And just remember that number, because between now and Friday, there may well be something that you'd like to get off your chest and put on the air. And it's a worldwide audience that we've got. 0419 65
0491, isn't it?
You're right.
Yeah, 0491.
But I am dyslexic. I see things backwards. 0491 65 68 60. It's a great number. The Matildas didn't get the third spot, the third place medal, but it doesn't matter. They tried. Win or lose, they tried, and they were great. And if you get there, or you don't get there, what matters is that you tried. And I think everyone in Australia is going to be very proud of all of you. And I'm interested that the government is going to cough up $200 million for women's sport. You know, the guy, Prime Minister, throws it around like it's confetti. You know, like he doesn't know the value of money somehow. Anyway, not to say that I don't think the $200 million spent on women's sport isn't deserved, but I saw this before I came into the garage. Anthony Albanese has conceded that he doesn't know how much it costs everyday Australians to fill up a tank of petrol. He doesn't know what the cost of a litre of petrol is. Well, I'd like to know when was the last time he bought a litre of petrol. Just days after admitting that he didn't know what the full version of the Uluru Statement from the Heart was. This is the Uluru Statement from the Heart, which he is going to implement in full, in its entirety. And he admits he doesn't know what's in it. I think, as I said to you last week, I think the reason he's saying this is that if he admitted that he knew what was in it, he'd be held responsible. But if he says, I didn't know all of this reparations and rent and compensation, I didn't know anything. You see, maybe it's fancy footwork, or maybe he would implement a document that he had not even seen. Weird. Anyway, you kids in the Matildas put up a great show. You did. Made a great statement. And that one was from the heart. The ABC continues to campaign for the yes voice, quite unashamedly. No problem. Taxpayers' money. They are assuming, I assume, that the taxpayers, I'm assuming, of course, that the board accepts the position, the editorial position of the ABC. I can't see how they can speak as the national broadcaster for all voters in Australia, because they certainly don't speak for me. And I'm quite convinced walking down the street, people stop me in the street and they are 100% behind what I'm saying. So I can't see this thing getting up, but all of the money that's being spent on it, God. $380 million, by the way, to settle the Commonwealth Games cancellation. Now, these fools in Victoria have the gall. Do you know what they blamed? Do you know what they blamed? The war in Ukraine. The war in Ukraine is responsible for high electricity costs. It's responsible for cancelling the Commonwealth Games. What absolute rubbish. You see, these people must think we are stupid. Anyway, coming out of the Labor Party conference in Brisbane, I just don't know if they're trying to appease the Greens or they're just trying to be aspirational. The idea of building 1.2 million houses in 5 years. If you think of the logistics involved in that, 1.2 million houses in 5 years. That's amazing. Courageous, Prime Minister. Courageous. That sounds like 600 new houses built every day. And we've got construction companies falling over all over the joint. And where are you going to get the land? Because you've got to buy the land, or you're just going to acquisition it. Where will you get the tradespeople to build 600 houses a day? I suppose it sounds good or it looks good on paper, but I don't think it's achievable. These people can say, of course, whatever they like. Question is, will they deliver? We have to get more public housing. I agree. And we have to get more people into houses, which is probably more the point. But who said that the taxpayer has to do it? Believe me, I know it's not easy to own a house. It was the first aspirational thing that I wanted to do when I left school, but it was as far away from me as a goal as the moon. But it is the single most important purchase any of us will ever make. We all have to start somewhere. And it's worked that way forever. You know, when I was scrounging around, I got a job as a door-to-door photographer when I was 18. When I left 2GB because I had to go to the country, and that wasn't possible because I had to look after and support my mother. So I got a job as a door-to-door photographer on commission. Hard work. We did maybe 16 appointments a day. Screaming children. I'll never forget it. Oh dear, oh dear. How do you make a screaming child smile for the camera? Not easy. But one of the areas I went was the western suburbs of Sydney, which would be like the northern suburbs of Adelaide. And it was the practice in the day that as people struggled to get a home, what they did was mother and father, husband and wife would work, and they would pool their money and they would buy the land. Then what they'd do would be to build a temporary dwelling. The council would let them build a temporary dwelling, somewhere for them to live. And I'm telling you, I've been in these places, and they were nothing more than a lean-to. No comforts of home, but it was something people went through the ordeal so they could save enough to buy a house. They'd knock down the temporary dwelling. They had the land. They'd knock down the temporary dwelling, and they'd build the house. Might have taken years. But that was the way you did it. Self-sufficient, proud people. Now, I don't think anyone these days has ever seen a temporary dwelling. Oh, maybe the councils wouldn't let you do it. But it was a foot in the door. It was a foot for most of us who couldn't afford a house to get a foot on the ladder. We have a front bench of the Labor Party, including the Prime Minister, with property worth somewhere between 15 and 20 million. Prime Minister's got about, I think, he's got 5 properties, so that would have to be 5 or 6 million. These are investment properties. But the rest of his front bench, I ran through them. I'll do it again, maybe on Friday. I'll do it again on Friday. But there's a whole list there of all of the front bench of the Labor Party and their investment properties. Collectively, it would have to be about $20 million. 20 million between them. Now, none of these, I'll guarantee you, would be put out at an affordable rental. None of them would be purchased on anything other than negative gearing. Don't get me wrong, I admire the spirit of the front bench of the Labor Party. That's enterprise. Good. It's capitalism. Good. It's what they should be encouraging us all to do. But, you know, one side is a socialist, the other side is a capitalist. I'm talking about the same people. They're not exactly consistent. And it seems like there's one rule for you, and there's one rule for me, and there's another one for them. Now, if the front bench of the Labor Party believe in affordable housing, the other thing they could do, of course, is to put their investment properties on the market at a peppercorn rent. I wonder if that's occurred to them. The Prime Minister seems to be well and truly in charge of the party, looking at that conference, the rank and the file. But all of these things are worked out well and truly in advance, no surprises. AUKUS seems to be safe, nuclear-powered submarines, while debated, and to the left, of course, contentious. The Cabinet carried the day. The decision was carried. There was no way the conference was going to roll the Prime Minister publicly. That would have been disaster. But they'll go through the motions, I'm sure. Look, I saw an ad on TV. It said 0 is the most important number in the world for Australia. This is about zero emissions by 2050. Look, do these stupid people think that Australia, contributing 1.3% of global emissions, is going to make any difference to anything? You could close down the entire country and no one would notice. Is there no one who will call this nonsense out for what it is? Our electricity bills are sky high for absolutely no reason. Here in the court of public opinion, we will continue to call it out. But what does that say about mainstream media? Are they stupid? Think we're stupid? Asleep at the wheel? Or are they in the pocket of the government? Don't know. I want to talk to you tomorrow about teachers. Oh golly, and a whole stack of other stuff. I'll leave you with some dates, and happy birthday if you're having a birthday, and remind you that Friday we live stream from the dining room table. We've had a lovely response. Pete's been great.
Yes, very good.
Good response, and thank you for all your support, believe me. Today, August 21, 1888, American inventor William Seward Burroughs patents the adding machine. I mean, that would have been an amazing invention in the day, wouldn't it? The adding machine. 1888. Walt Disney, his animated movie Bambi, I remember seeing that when I was just a kid, based on the book by Felix Salten, is released. 1942. Well, I wouldn't have seen it. Mind you, it took him a long time to get a movie to Australia. If it was released in America in 42, it would have been a beautiful animated movie. I would have seen it in 50 or 51, maybe. The Melba Theatre, down at Strathfield. I remember the Melba Theatre. I wonder if it's still there. No, couldn't be. 2017, Johnson & Johnson ordered to pay $417 million to women who developed ovarian cancer after using talc powder. You know, you'd have your shower, wouldn't you? Put talc powder. I remember my mother doing that to me and Christopher. It was the thing you did. And for some reason, it causes ovarian cancer. Good God. That was 2017. Took them a long time to find that out. I suppose it wouldn't be easy to join the dots. 1936, Kenny Rogers, American pop and country singer. I have a picture of Kenny Rogers with me in the studio over there. Can we get a shot of that?
Yeah.
He was lovely. I liked Kenny Rogers, the gambler through the years, entrepreneur, the Kenny Rogers Roasters. I don't know what that is. He was born in Houston, in Texas, in 1938. He died in 2020. 2015, after 108 years, a message in a bottle put in the sea by UK marine biologist, or the Marine Biologist Association, is announced as found on a beach in Germany, 2015, after 108 years. 1879, the Virgin Mary, along with St. Joseph and St. John, the evangelist, reportedly appeared to the people of Knock County, Mayo, in Ireland. Ooh. 1879. Hawaii becomes the 50th state in 1958. Peter Weir, I like Peter Weir, he's a nice bloke. He lives here in Adelaide. Australian director, writer, witness, Dead Poets Society, born Sydney, New South Wales in 1944. The city of Hobart, Tasmania, is founded in 1842. The first hot air balloon over the Alps in 1972. Really? Oh. Claude Graham White, English aviator pioneer, who was the first to test a night flight in England, 1879. He died in 1959. London, oh yes, the London clock, Big Ben. London's Parliament clock, Big Ben, chimes for the last time before undergoing renovation in 2017. Stephen Hillenburg, American animator and cartoonist, SpongeBob SquarePants. He was born in Oklahoma. He died in 2018, born 61. And one more, 2021, Don Everly, American rock and roll singer, evangelist, the Everly Brothers, Bye Bye Love, Wake Up Little Susie, When Will I Be Loved? All of those just fantastic songs. Now, that was 2021. So what am I trying to tell you? Oh, he died. He died at 84 in 2021. Anyway, if you remember the day for any reason at all, I hope it's been a great day, or it's about to be a great day. Pete and I will be back with you tomorrow. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Look forward to live streaming and talking with you from the dining room table on Friday. Believe in yourself, and goodbye from the Court of Public Opinion.